My mind is clear, and my blade is ready.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite theory crafter, Skizzors here, bringing you a brand new episode of Nexus by the Numbers, presented by StormLegacy.com. Go check out Storm Legacy for all your heroes news over at StormLegacy.com, on Twitter at StormLegacyTeam, on YouTube, youtube.com/StormLegacy, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/StormLegacy. Be sure to show them some support. They are amazing people over there, and they do a great job at keeping everyone up to date with all things heroes. So I have a few questions for you watching the guide. Have you ever just wanted to fly around the map and just team wipe the entire enemy team? Maybe dash through heroes to get a bunch of kills? Or possibly you just really wanted to catch that darn Probius because he's always speeding away from you. Well, this guide should help get you there. So we're going to be going over Genji today. He's a ranged assassin. Kind of plays a little bit like Zeratul. You want to just poke in for finishing kills and then fully commit when it's your time to do so. Genji is very, very mobile and an incredibly fun hero and crazy good playmaker if played in the right way. First, let's go over Genji's basic attacks. He throws 3 instances of auto attacks. He can move while attacking, but your initial start up of the animation needs to be completely still. So if I'm just running, I'm not going to attack somebody, but if I target and then go, and using a move is also okay, but you just want to get the startup animation down for Genji, and that's what's going to let you trigger the 3 instances of damage. Now I'd say instances because, as you can see, he throws 3 shurikens and they each do 92 apiece, and you're going to want to keep in mind the instance damage for Genji, especially when we go over the flat. So moving through Genji's basic abilities, first we're going to be starting with this trait, Cyber Agility, cooldown 10 seconds, activate to jump to the target. So you can see Genji's range with Cyber Agility. It's not too far, and it does allow you to jump, do this kind of cool flip. You are not immune during this, so you can get stunned, you can get slowed, you can get blocked, knocked away. There's been times where you start the jump and you only make it to right here instead of going here, and a diva hits you and that's as far as you get. So just keep that in mind. It's just a nice mini escape or initiation tool. It has a lot of different uses for offensive, defensive potential. So that is Genji's trait, Cyber Agility. So next we're going to be going over Genji's Q, Shuriken. Mana cost is 15 per Shuriken toss. Charge cooldown is 12 seconds. Throw 3 Shuriken in a spread pattern, each dealing X damage to the first enemy hit. Stores up to 3 charges. Shuriken's cooldown replenishes all charges at the same time. So with turning toggle cooldowns off, you can see that you can see the spread, and it's a really good poke tool, and Genji is typically played by most people in melee range, even though he is a ranged assassin. So you're going to be wanting the enemy heroes to kind of be sitting back where my cursor is, kind of over in this area where all 3 shuriken are going to hit whatever hero you're going after. So just showing it off, it's really simple. You just throw 3 shuriken. You can see the charge starting to come back. That's that blue line that's going around the circle. That's your cooldown. Just going into shuriken a little more, I'm going to show it on the training dummy. Now you can see as the shurikens will hit, the line will turn green. So as they're going to register, they will turn green. And you kind of want to get all 3 of them to be registering. If you shoot them off filter, you see 2 of them went, 1 of them hit. And then if you're going to hit 2, you just see the 1 go, and that works over here too. So you're going to want to try to hit the 3. Now, you can do a lot of poke damage this way, where you're throwing shuriken and you're just trying to get as much poke as you can in on a hero without getting too close. So this is typically how I kind of use Q, at least in the starting portions of the game, just trying to stay at a good range so I can't get initiated or jumped on. If I do see somebody initiating on me, if it's a Varian, we'll say, and I see him starting to charge, you can always use your D to jump back. But I try to keep a decent range using my shuriken tosses. It's always important to be able to always have options. If you're really going to go all in on a hero, you can either walk up to them and use shurikens and just try to stick with them the best you can, and just try to get as much of that damage in as you possibly can, or you can also initiate with a D jump in and then just start smashing them with the shurikens. The next basic ability we're going to be going over is Deflect. Mana cost is 70, cooldown 16 seconds, channel for 1.25 seconds, becoming protected and blocking damage. Any damage blocked while channeling causes Genji to throw a kunai toward the nearest enemy, prioritizing heroes and dealing X damage. And then they have a total damage deflected number, which is really only useful for one particular talent, and we'll go over that towards the end. But yeah, so with Deflect, it's pretty straightforward. You hit it, you become protected. This is the range at which your kunai will be thrown. Now, the important thing to note here is that any damage blocked while channeling causes Genji to throw a kunai towards the nearest enemy. Now, any damage meaning any instance of damage. So, for example, if you have Vala, we'll say this, the training dummy is Genji, okay? So if I'm Vala and I'm shooting a Genji and he uses Deflect, I'm hitting Genji with one auto attack per hit, which means that's one instance of damage, which means you'll throw one kunai. Okay. Now somebody like Genji, if you were playing quick match and you're in a mirror matchup, each one of these shurikens is an instance of damage. So now if a Genji deflects, he's going to be deflecting 3 kunai back at you because it's per instance of damage. So if you have somebody like Li Ming, who's dealing a bajillion instances of damage with Disintegrate, each instance of damage will count as 1 kunai throw. And as long as you're getting damage within Deflect's protected state, you're going to be launching a lot of kunai at people, depending on what heroes are hitting you and what kind of instance damage there is available for you to deflect back. Now keep in mind, Deflect gives you protected status, but it does not protect you from any form of CC. So you can still be slow, rooted, stunned, anything like that. Any ability used while Deflect is up for the 1.25 seconds will immediately cancel Deflect, and if Genji gets stunned, that will also cancel the channel time early. Just to show you an example, this is your standard time with Deflect up, and you can cancel that early at any point in time. Alright, so Genji's last basic ability and the bread and butter talent which makes Genji so mobile and strong in the first place is Swift Strike. Mana cost is 75, cooldown is 12 seconds, dash forward dealing X damage to all enemies in a line. Enemy heroes that die within 2 seconds of being hit by Swift Strike causes the cooldown and mana cost to be refunded. So this is what makes Genji super strong. Now you can see it is a very thin line and you dash pretty quickly. So the thing to note about Swift Strike, and something that you will find as a common reoccurring theme between Genji's Deflect, Swift Strike, and Cyber Agility, you can be stunned or knocked back during Swift Strike. So you could be getting ready to dash and a Diva knocks you right there, or a Diablo hits you right there, or a Muradin throws his stun way over here when you're in the middle of the dash. You will be stopped by any of those. Just keep that in mind. Going over the talents that make the most sense to me to pick up, and gonna kind of be ignoring the ones that I don't find useful at all. So I'm gonna start off by just saying straight up that I 100% always grab Swift as the win. Swift is the win. Hitting an enemy hero with Swift Strike increases Genji's movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. Now most people grab Agile Dismount, and that is while mounted, the range of Cyber Agility is increased by 70% and its cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. It's a pretty strong talent, I'll be honest. It is a good talent. I personally never go for it because of a few different reasons. So my general playstyle with Playmaker type heroes, which are heroes like Zeratul, Genji, Alarak, Valera, heroes that can really turn the fight on its head at any given moment, as long as the player is aware of the situations that can occur. So why I don't typically like to go Agile Dismount is because I feel like it kind of pigeonholes you as a playmaking hero. So to get value off of your level 1 pick, you have to be mounted and then use your trait off of your mount. Now there is a combo piece that you can get at 7 with it, but I personally just don't always feel like the combo piece is justified, and I'll kind of go over that when I hit level 7, or when we go over the level 7 talents. So what I like about not talenting Cyber Agility is that you can use it as an escape, you can use it as an initiation, you can use it as a mini chase, you can use it as a body block. If somebody's here, you can just body block them there, or if they're really close, you can body block them there. If you want to, and I'll go over this more at level 4, if you want to refresh your shurikens, but you're in a good position to chase, you can just do a mini jump and then keep going. There's a lot of different options in using your trait, where if you use Agile Dismount, or if you pick Agile Dismount, the only time you're going to get value off of this is if you're mounted. And that could be as quick as clicking this and then channeling your cyber agility. Now how I did that, just in case you're wondering, is I hit my mount key and then I clicked shift and then I hit D and then left. So in doing that, you'll see a line be drawn, this little dotted line, and that's basically meaning that I'm shift queuing abilities, where you just hold shift. If you move and then I shift queue movement, I don't have to touch anything now, and all these movement commands will be registered because I've shift queued them. The proper combination used for agile dismount is to hit Z, shift, D, left click, or if you have quick cast on, it's just shift and then D wherever your mouse is. Just showing that again, it's just instantaneous. So as soon as you mount, your cyber agility will go off the frame that it is possible to use cyber agility. That's kind of the combination that you want to do with agile dismount. But now if you ever use your cyber agility in any other circumstance, it's like you never grabbed a level 1 talent. So if you wanted to escape like this, if you wanted to engage in, if you wanted to just do a mini jump, all of those options are now suboptimal because your level 1 talent only works while you're mounted. Where if you go swift as the wind, you are guaranteed that you're going to get value off of swift as the wind and have better synergy with your other abilities as long as you hit somebody. Now, that's not to say that agile dismount is a bad level 1 talent pick. It is good in certain scenarios. I never go it, like I said before, because I don't like to pigeonhole my abilities. Like, yeah, if you grabbed agile dismount, you could during team fights, maybe you're chasing somebody and you're in this fight and you just want to shift queue really quick and do something like that, right, where you just hop onto your mount and then you dive in further along. But I always feel that it's kind of an unnecessary step when the time it takes for you to mount up and then do your jump and then apply more pressure, you could have gotten at least 2 to 3 more auto attacks in, which could have gotten you a finisher hit on Swift Strike. So that's kind of my reasoning behind not wanting to go agile dismount. I just kind of feel like it limits you on playmaking abilities as far as getting value off of what you pick. So with Swift as the Wind, and I will show it here as I will select it, as long as I hit a hero, I'm going to get a speed boost, which means I can chase anybody in the game, I can catch up to anyone. It's a 30% speed boost, so as long as I'm hitting somebody, I get value from that. Now the counter argument to what I just talked about with agile dismount would be, well, if you don't hit anyone with your E, then are you getting value out of it? And that's a very good counter argument. The only difference is when I'm not using Swift Strike offensively, I'm using it defensively, which means I can already basically escape from any team fight, granted that I don't get stunned or knocked back during the time of the dash. Where with agile dismount, where it's going to be comparable is mounting up and then jumping away like that. At that point, wouldn't you just E away anyway if you're going to run away? The other argument is, what if your E is on cooldown but your D is because you went agile dismount, so now you're going to be able to escape because your E is on cooldown. My feeling is if your E's on cooldown and you need to run away, you probably shouldn't have used your E in the first place to initiate or to attempt to get a kill that you weren't going to get. And with that said, you would still have cyber agility up if you were in that kind of situation where, say, you dashed in, you didn't get the kill, get cyber agility, deflect, and usually that's enough time to get away from something. Once again, that's just why I like to go Swift Strike at 1. I just don't find agile dismount that useful. I feel like it's very situational where it becomes useful. And Swift Strike also provides you great synergy with the rest of your kit, and we'll be going into that soon. Alright, moving on to level 4. This one is going to go pretty quick. I don't find Strike at the Heart or Dragonclaw to be very useful. I would pick Dragonclaw if it had at least 150 more damage that it dealt. So at 20 you're doing 395, if you were doing 550, 600, around there, so a little more damage, I would say the Dragonclaw would be worth it, but it just deals too little damage for me to find useful. And then this additional damage I've never found to be very useful. So Shuriken Mastery is our pick. It is a quest talent for your Q. The quest is hit enemy heroes with Shuriken. Reward, the first reward is after hitting 35 heroes with Shuriken, the damage is increased by 30, and after hitting 75 heroes, cyber agility now refunds 2 charges of Shuriken. So in your general engagement in lane, when you hit 4 and you're having the lane, the best way to use Shuriken that I found is just to kind of poke as much as you can at the enemy hero and then try to get as much resets as you can possible on these. Now I have toggled cooldowns on, so I'm going to be able to hit Arthas a lot more than regularly, but this kind of gives you an idea of kind of how I tend to use shurikens where I'll be poking constantly, and then if I see that I have a potential for a kill, maybe I'll engage a little harder and then E in, use protect, and then kind of get out of there. So yeah, just on the training dummy here, just to show you with a non-moving target, you're just gonna kind of want to spam your Q at a decently far range to try to get as many of the shurikens hit as you possibly can. If you're only hitting one, that's okay. Obviously you want to try to hit more than that, but just poking constantly, you'll have your quest done in no time. So moving on to level 7, I tend to only really go to 2 choices, and that's perfect defense and dodge. So first I'll go over perfect defense because it's kind of like a if this then do this kind of scenario where I pick one or the other. So perfect defense is deflected damage reduces the cooldown of deflect by 2 seconds up to a maximum of 10 seconds, which means you can make your deflect a 6-second cooldown. I typically grab perfect defense if there's a lot of instances of damage. So Li Ming, anyone like a Diva or a Tracer or another Genji if you're in QM, or anything of that kind of nature where you're going to be getting a lot of instances of damage hitting you at the same time, make deflect come up more often. The second level 7 talent that we flex into is dodge. Genji dodges 1 heroic basic attack every 8 seconds, stores up to 3 charges. So this one's interesting because it combos really well with agile dismount, where if you do pick dodge and you mount up, or the time it takes you to mount up, if an enemy hero attacks you with a basic attack, dodge will proc and it won't cancel your channel time. So in theory, during your channel time for your mount, if somebody attacks you, you should be able to shift Q your cyber agility or just be spamming it in order to always get that 70% off, like so. So you have your frame, there's Arthas, he's walking around, and so that's like the idea behind it, right? If you grab dodge, it combos into mount up, and this is kind of what I wanted to go over again real quick with agile dismount. So grabbing dodge theoretically is a really good combo tool because it's going to block a heroic basic attack, but what if they're mages? What if their main source of damage is mages? Or what if there's somebody like Arthas who does spell damage if they get near you? Dodge won't protect you from spell damage, so in a sense, if you go agile dismount and then you go dodge and you're expected to get this combination off where you mount up and then use your D, if anyone's close to you or if anyone throws any sort of spell that hits you, your mount channel time is going to get cancelled, therefore kind of rendering your whole level 1 pick once again useless, because your only scenario where this does anything is while you're mounted. So if you can't mount up to do a jump, then your level 1 talent is void. So that's kind of the scenarios that you want to be thinking about. So just a really quick overview for it. I always grab dodge if the enemy team is primarily auto attack focused, so Raynor, Vala, Zul'jin, anything that's auto attack based, you want to be grabbing dodge for that reason specifically. And you want to grab perfect defense if they have a lot of instances of damage, or if they really just don't have any basic auto attackers. Dodge isn't as useful. It's still always a good pickup. You're not wrong if you pick one over the other in any scenario. Just know that dodge is not going to block spell damage. So if their damage is spell damage heavy, dodge isn't going to be that useful for you in the long-term sense of the game. About dodge is you don't want to pick it up if you, we'll say you're in QM and you're against another Genji. You don't really want to pick up dodge because remember, Genji does a 3 instance auto attack, which will eat up all 3 charges of your dodge with 1 auto. So all he has to do is walk near you, click once, and walk away. And now for 8 seconds you don't have any form of damage mitigation through the enemy team's basic auto attacks. So that's something to always keep in mind when picking dodge. If they have somebody like Diva, Tychus, Tracer, anyone that does these high instances of auto attack damage really fast, dodge isn't going to be super useful for. Now you will initially block those first few hits, which is nice, and that might help you survive, but in the long run of things, then you could have just grabbed perfect defense, popped your W when they initiated onto you, and you will have your deflect off cooldown much faster, so you're still going to get value instead of potentially blocking a few attacks. So the ulti choice is always an interesting debate between different people, whether you should go Dragonblade or X-Strike. I would say if you're trying to play Genji as optimally as you can, seeing as this is what this guide is for, you will always grab Dragonblade. There is never a time I've ever grabbed X-Strike beyond just testing it to see what it does. So first I'll read both abilities and then we'll go from there. So Dragonblade has a 50 mana cost, Cooldown is 80 seconds. Unleash the Dragonblade for 8 seconds. While active, Dragonblade can be reactivated to lunge forward and slash in a huge arc, dealing X damage. If enemy heroes are killed within 2 seconds of being hit by Dragonblade, Swift Strike's cooldown is reset. And X Strike is mana cost is 90, cooldown 80 seconds, perform 2 slashes dealing X damage. The slashes detonate after 1.25 seconds, causing an additional X damage to enemies in their area. So I see a lot of people grabbing X Strike, and I think it's because they're not comfortable on Genji quite yet, so they need an extra escape tool more or less. X Strike does significantly less damage than Dragonblade, and I mean like significantly less damage. So at level 10, X Strike can do a max of 800 damage per target. Okay? So if you hit 5 heroes, it's 800 per, or if you just hit one guy, it's 800 per. Now that's if you hit both slashes perfectly and your detonating slash afterwards, so that's 800 damage. Dragonblade at level 10. Now with Dragonblade, your lunge with the huge arc slash has a cooldown of 1 second. So you're going to probably be getting 5 to 6 swings with human reaction speed taken into account, not being frame perfect. And that's just human things. I'm not frame perfect. I don't have any human reactions. So you usually get anywhere from 5 to 6 slashes in during the 8 seconds that the ulti's up. Now, with just 5 to 6 slashes, you're doing roughly 2,130 damage. So remember, X Strike does 800 damage max. Dragonblade can do 2,130 damage max, and that's anyone who gets hit in the arc per hero. So it works the same as X Strike in the fact of it's per hero instances of damage, but it's over a little bit longer period of time, and your damage output is so much higher. Now the first argument that you hear is X Strike goes off much quicker than Dragonblade, since Dragonblade is an 8-second ability. And while that's true, you only need 3 Dragonblade strikes to get to 1,000 damage at level 10, which already surpasses X Strike's damage by 200. So if you're getting X Strike for, oh, I'm going to get it for damage purposes, there's really no point, because Dragonblade, you just need to hit 3 slashes. You can walk away after 3 and still do more damage than you would with X Strike. The main reason I think people favor X Strike, though, is, like I said, because of the positioning. So I'm going to pick X Strike just to show you what it does, and then I'll go over Dragonblade a little bit more. So X Strike has this very, very cool indication marker where it's 2 dragons crossing each other, and it's got a pretty cool animation. So you fly through the air and you double slash, and then you explode at the end of it. Now, the main reason I see people grabbing X Strike is for the invulnerable segment of it, where when you pop X Strike, you can't be targeted while you're up there. So you're untargetable while you're doing this. And people use it a lot like Illidan's Metamorphosis, where maybe a Pyroblast is coming in and it's about to hit you, so you drop your X Strike and now you've dodged Pyroblast, or any other sort of instances of damage, or you're just trying to escape, so you drop it way over here and you run away. Those are the main reasons I see people grabbing X Strike. When people are saying they grab X Strike for damage, it's pretty hard to land to get optimal damage. You need to hit that small diamond where they cross perfectly, hit them, or the enemy hero walks into one, walks into the other, and walks into the last detonation strike with the X mark. It's very hard to get that damage output to be consistent, so on top of the inconsistent damage, you're just really not contributing much to your team beyond giving you another dodge tool. With that said, I just think X Strike is kind of like, I'm just starting to learn Genji, I'm not really comfortable in positioning with them, therefore I need to go X Strike in order to keep myself alive. So with Dragonblade, you're doing so much more damage output than you are with X Strike, and on top of that, since it helps you reset your E, it's really hard to lock down Genji when he's dashing around everywhere. As you can see from this team fight clip over on the right that I'm about to show you, Dragonblade is absolutely insane, being able to dash everywhere all the time to catch heroes and constantly be dashing to get those resets, and it's just incredibly strong, the synergy that Dragonblade has with your Swift Strike ability. Now the thing that's interesting about Dragonblade, and this goes back to level 1, why I grab Swift as the Wind, is if you don't grab Swift as the Wind and you grab Dragonblade and you pop Dragonblade, I'll show you right now just walking by, if I was to catch up with Arthas and I pop Dragonblade, I can dash a little bit to try to catch up to him. But in general, I can't really catch up to heroes using Dragonblade. You are at the same exact run speed as you would be if you didn't have it up. The thing is, you can use your mini dash and you can get there a little bit quicker, and that's about all you can do as far as catching up to a target with Dragonblade. Now, the difference is with level 1 being grabbed as swift as the wind, and since there's a little bit of a wind-up time on Dragonblade, what you end up wanting to do is pop Dragonblade first so the wind-up time initiates, because I can't immediately hit Q as you saw there. As I was spamming it during the wind-up time, I wasn't able to dash. So you can see that one more time here, where I'm going to pop it and I'm just going to be spamming Q, and you're going to hear my keyboard, but it's going to take a split second to pop. So that's the very first frame in which I can actually use my Q. Another thing to mention with Dragonblade is your Q and your R do the exact same thing. This is the lunge distance, that is a cool marker, and you do a lot of damage. It's a pretty big R. So since there's a wind-up time with Dragonblade, what you're going to want to do is pop Dragonblade and then immediately E in. So if I pop Dragonblade E in, while it's charging up, I'm still getting damage output done with my E, and I'm able to continue to dash with Dragonblade as soon as it's active. The combo is ulti into E, and then you'll be immediately able to Dragon Slash right off of that. And that's just giving you a little more damage output to lay down on enemy heroes. The other thing to note is at the point that you would be going into the fight, you're not going in when everyone has full health, usually. You're usually going in once the fight starts, maybe a second after the fight starts. So your team has put on the initial front of damage, and now you're going to pop Dragonblade and Swift Strike to bounce in there and start slashing away. And it might take 2-3 strikes, then that means you've already done X strikes amount of damage, you get your reset, and then you're just dashing everywhere for finishing blows. And you can see that by a lot of the clips that I've been showing throughout this video, where when I dash, I'm either securing the kill or dashing into a deflect or dashing into some other ability in order to secure a kill and allowing me to dash again. Now the part about Dragonblade synergizing with Swift Strike is, remember, at level 1, Swift Strike gives you movement speed, and remember how I just said that Dragonblade does not give you increased movement speed, it just gives you the little bit of a lunge. And your opening combination is Dragonblade into Swift Strike. So you're going to hit somebody with Swift Strike, which means the entire time Dragonblade's up, essentially, you're going to be having increased movement speed, or at least the initial part of the team fight, the first 3 seconds, and that should be enough to secure a kill in order to get your Swift Strike back up, and then you're going to dash again, you're going to get another 30% 3-second boost, and you can kind of see where the synergy comes in. So instead of me, you know, like dashing in, popping my ulti, and then trying to kill this guy, not being able to move very fast, I'm able to pop ulti, hit Dragonblade. Now I'm fast, I can catch up to people, no one's going to outrun me, somebody should be dead at that point, you're going to dash again, maybe kill another person, dash, and then you're going to try to do what other damage you can do. So level 13 is your next group of talents. I'm just going to say right away that I always go flow like water. Each enemy hero hit with Swift Strike reduces its cooldown by 3 seconds. And that is more or less the combo with the 16 talent choice, level 16 talent choice, but it does help with Swift as the Wind. It does help with Dragonblade in case you do need to get another dash in early. So it does synergize with the rest of your kit, but I primarily get it to combo into the level 16 talent, and it's also very good if you do happen to initiate into a team fight you probably shouldn't have initiated in. If you hit 4 heroes, that is a complete 100% cooldown reset. So if you dive in and you go, oh crap, I shouldn't be here, or if you hit 3 heroes, that's already 9 seconds. That makes Swift Strike only a 3-second cooldown, so you're able to get out relatively quickly. And if you initiated with your E, and then realize you weren't supposed to be there and it's only on 3-second cooldown, you can jump out, hit deflect, and then your E will be back up in time to bounce out of there. The other choice is Shingen, which I could be saying wrong, and I hope I'm not, I apologize if I am, is your other choice. And technically speaking, this talent pick gives you a higher damage output. And if you grab Flow Like Water is much more of a utility pick. And so either one of these are completely viable to choose. I find the damage to be a little inconsistent with this one, where you have to put yourself in really interesting positions in order to capitalize on this. But with that said, if you're not being punished at all by the time you're hitting level 13 and you're like, dude, I can just sit in with all these people, this is going to be a better choice. So it's hitting an enemy with all 3 shurikens deals X bonus damage. And I'll just show you that real quick by picking it. So if you hit all 3 heroes, you'll see a little crit proc, the little 252 that pops up right there. And so if I miss, obviously I don't get it, right? So like there, I don't get it because I missed one. And I'm just kind of trying to show you guys if you miss versus if you don't miss. So I'm trying to like also angle these a little bit to miss. Yeah, you get the extra bonus damage, and it does really add up really quickly because you're getting, I mean, at level 20, it's 252. So 252 times 3, you know, you're dealing quite a bit of extra damage if you're able to hit those bursts, and it combos very well with your Shuriken Mastery because you're gonna have 2 extra charges, so 2 extra chances to use Shingen to your advantage. But like I said, I like to go Flow Like Water mostly because of the utility fact, but either one of these are good. Don't feel like you need to go Flow Like Water just because I'm saying to, and don't feel like you need to go Shingen just because somebody else is telling you. Both of these are very viable talents, and either one is a great pick. Shingen, you definitely need to be getting those 3 Shuriken proc hits all the time to make it worth it, and to counter argument that you need to be hitting multiple heroes for Flow Like Water to be worth it. I tend to pick this, like I said, just for utility purposes, but you can pick either one. So at level 16, you have 3 choices. I always go Steady Blade. It gives you the most damage output. It combos with the rest of your E abilities. It combos with Dragonblade because you're getting E resets during your Dragonblade, and you're able to do a lot more damage off of that. So Steady Blade is each enemy hero hit by Swift Strike increases the damage of the next Swift Strike by 20%. This bonus stacks up to 3 times, so you can get 60% increased damage. Really, really strong. You crit for a truckload during this, and if you happen to have like a 3-hit hero proc off of it, so you have the 60%, if you come back through that line of heroes and hit all 3 of them again, you'll get that 60% right back for your next Swift Strike. I find Reflect to be kind of negligible in damage. It's good, but I don't find myself in a lot of positions where I'm using Deflect a whole lot unless I'm in trouble or if I need to get some finishing kills early game. So I don't find this talent very useful. I kind of feel like if you're going to be doing Final Cut for the extra damage or for the wave clear potential, because it is good for wave clear, I just kind of feel like Steady Blade's a little better, you know? Like I said, I pick Genji in the sense of a finisher, some hero that's going to go in there and clean up team fights. I don't pick him as a split pusher or somebody who lanes. So Final Cut doesn't really help me with the overall goal of eliminating heroes and taking team fights from my team. And I also feel that you can always eliminate waves fast enough with just about any hero in the game if you're smart enough in the way that you handle it, so not going to a wave too late to clear it. You have a lot of different options, or you know, using abilities to help out but not actually killing the minions, and as you're mounting up and walking away you're going to get the experience. That's a whole different conversation though. So Steady Blade is always what I end up picking at 16. Like I said, combos really well with your other E talents, and combos really well with Dragonblade, since Dragonblade's going to be resetting your E anyway. You're going to get a whole lot of damage output while just bouncing around everywhere. And at level 20, there's really only 2 picks for me. The Dragon Becomes Me, which is my favorite and the one I go 9 out of 10 times. And that's each time Dragonblade hits an enemy hero, the duration of Dragonblade is increased by 1 second. Basically means you can infinite Dragonblade as long as there's an enemy hero to hit. And I've had it go on for a long time. But so the Dragon Becomes Me is my go-to pick. Like all of these other talents, it combos well into all your other talent choices, so that's why the Dragon Becomes Me is always my go-to level 20 pick. If you do find yourself against a lot of instance damage with like Li Ming and other heroes of that nature, and you're finding that the enemy team is clumping a lot, then Zanshin, I hope I'm saying one of those right, is a really good level 20 pick also. So if they're clumping and they have a lot of instance damage, this will deal a lot of massive AoE damage. So it's a quest talent. You block 6,500 damage with Deflect, including damage blocked so far. That's what this little tracker is, the total damage deflected. So you'll know when you hit level 20 if you can even finish the talent or not. And the reward is Deflect hits all nearby enemy heroes. So this range, anything that's in that range will get hit by multiple instances of Deflect. So that can be good in that scenario, but like I said, usually the Dragon Becomes Me is my pick. So just to finish up the talent section, I'm going to be showing you the Dragon Becomes Me, and I'm just going to keep hitting Arthas so you can see the resets that are constantly going to be going. So you can see that the bar down here is always going back up every time I hit him, and you can just constantly be hitting him as many times as you need to, And he's kicking the crap out of me right now. And we can just keep bouncing back and forth. So, I mean, in that scenario, he was beating me pretty bad. That basically shows you the general use of Dragonblade with the Dragon Becomes Me. Now, typically speaking, when you dive in and you hit somebody, and you hit 2 people at level 20, and including your E, you're going to kill someone. So then you can like E out. So then you have more of a situation where you pop Dragonblade, you E in, you go 1, 2, E, 3, E, 4, 5, E, and then somebody's dead at that point. And that's kind of like how a standard team fight would go when using this ability. So you definitely have options, but I just thought it'd be cool to show you guys the bar constantly coming back. So guys, I hope this guide was really helpful for all of you. I hope it kind of gave you some insight into playing Genji and some different possibilities and outcomes. I hope the clips kind of showed you potential of what you can do on Genji. And yeah, I just hope it was a good guide for you all. Please be sure to leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Share it with your friends if they want to learn Genji as well. That's always a cool thing. Once again, big shout out to stormlegacy.com for all of the help on these videos and just allowing me to be able to do this and get it out to as many people as I can. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it. Thanks once more for hanging out with me and going over one of my favorite and most successful heroes, Genji. I hope this was an enjoyable guide for you all, and I will be seeing you next time.